Let me explain kind of how this works. And I'm going to say this in this context of people studying spirituality, and which is the study of spirits, and metaphysics, okay? And that probably makes up pretty much everyone on this line, or else you just probably got dragged into a YouTube video that you didn't know anything about. So in this case, those who are practicing spirituality have probably been doing that for a decent segment of time right now. It could be 10 years, it could be 5 years, it could be your whole life. Right? But generally how the process works, and this actually has to do with just being born on the planet, is first you start out in the first chimera, if you may, the first side of the consciousness that you start writing on is the material one. Okay, so you jump on the material horse. And people generally jump on this horse first because it's the one that produces the most vivid results. It's the one that you can actually see what you do and what it equals. So many people jump on the material horse, and the material horse starts getting stronger. Okay, and when I say material, I'm not talking about materialistic. I'm talking about just that aspect of the consciousness that, hey, I need to go out and get a job. I love her. She's supposed to be with me. We're going to get married. So all of those things that just have to do with anything beyond the spiritual, deeper subset of what goes on in self, right? So you're riding this horse, right? And then a lot of people never got off that horse, right? They just kept going. Like they gained so much material wealth and strength, but they're spiritually defunct, okay? But in your life, generally what happens when you start riding this material horse, we're calling it, there comes a point where you hit a wall, you fall off the horse. And then you start doing spirituality. You fall off the horse and you literally say, oh my goodness, I can't believe, that this is happening in my life. You start reading certain books and things, and then the books tell you that all of this is directly related to you not getting deeper into yourself, meditating, studying your spiritual side. So then you go and do that. Okay, so at this stage, what you've done is you've kind of abandoned this horse. You've left it. Okay, some even call that a betrayal. Okay, because now you're going to move away from it. It exists. It is still there, but you're leaving. You're going to this spiritual thing. So now you start cultivating the spiritual horse, right? And then get strong. And just like everybody else that doesn't realize the yin-yang nature to life, this thing can get so strong, it can equally destroy you like the material can. You get so disconnected, nobody even knows what you're talking about. It's like you're in a physical reality. You can't pay one bill, but you got all these words and all these ideas. It's because you left the horse that actually is responsible for manifesting all that stuff that the spiritual side is talking about and emitting and projecting. Okay. Now, all this is with just cause, because just like we said before, how are you going to learn two totally different things at the same time? This is why, since we've been deep into deprogramming the judgment codes and all that kind of stuff, when people ask me about archons, I give an answer. Here, hopefully this suffices you. Here's the answer about archons. Because if I get deep into what archons really are and how much archons have really done and what they've got going on and how they set up things, at the end of the conversation, you're going to hate archons. And if the whole purpose of the lesson is to come into harmony, how are we going to actually teach about division and teach about harmony at the same time? That's what I was saying about the two horses. So life will ride you off on one of these horses and make you actually feel like the other one's not important. That's why material people don't think spirituality is important. They laugh at it. Versus also spiritual people don't think material reality is important. They laugh at it. Why? Because when you're trying to recover from something, if you smoke cigarettes, right? And at every single moment you're thinking about cigarettes and you want to smoke a cigarette, you're going to eventually smoke a cigarette. Something has to happen where you hate cigarettes and you no longer believe that those are the way to go. So that's what would happen in this switch. You would go to spirituality and you would hate material reality and you would never believe that that was the way to go until 2020. Until you got to the certain level of adepthood to realize, I need to get that other horse. Because that other horse was also the one that backed up most of these thoughts, most of these light codes and most of these words and brought them into physical reality. Now, of course, you're not going to bring back the same old decrepit being that actually was dooming you. You're going to actually now have the wisdom of the spiritual aspects of self to now guide this part of self. Let me make sure we're still connected. Okay, great. To guide that part of self into the same strength. Remember, I told you these things they should run at equal measure. One should not be stronger than the other. They should be balanced. It's like if you got one stronger horse and you're on this chariot, this horse is literally leading everything off to one side. This is why you don't want that. One horse can run really fast. The other horse is getting dragged. You don't want that. You want them running at the same speed. So now the wisdom and the mentorship of the spiritual side is now going to embrace the material chimera that was left behind. that also feels a bit betrayed. Anytime you leave something, you betray it. And this is actually seen as a betrayal to self, because that is a part of self. So now you pull up on him again. Hey, yeah, I know you a spiritual got an issue, but I got a whole nother way. Because remember, you're the arbitrator. You're the rider of the horse. So if you actually put yourself in the position of either of these beings, and it's not just to arbitrate and to realize how you can bring balance, you're already in folly. You're a referee, black and white. So you're the one that is to groom these beings so that they can take you to where you need to go. So you pull up again. Hey, spirit, material side. Yeah, I know I left you. And we used to have some great times, didn't we? But listen, for us to get to this next stage of manifesting what wisdom over here is already cooked up now that I've been hooking up with him for so long or her for so long. But we need this to happen, and we realize we can't make this happen without you. And then the material said, I told you y'all was going to need me. What do we need to do? Well, of course, you can't go back to your same old things. We're going to upgrade you. And based on what we're going to grow from that, we all going to fly up out of here. Bet. We're going to get to it all then. And that's how it happens. That's what 2020 is about. Now, of course, that's not going to happen for everyone, because just like I said, when you abandon one side of the consciousness and you only hang out in one pole, this other pole you've now demonized in many ways. You've distorted in many ways. That's what I'm saying. When people remark about material reality, even though they eat, they drink, they love, they walk on the sand, they do all that, but then they're always saying, oh, the material world, and oh, it's nothing, and there's greater and higher things, but yet this is where they are, okay? So when you do that, what happens is that it basically says over and over to the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind doesn't like to have all these different categories. It just says that one's wrong, that one's bad, that one's evil, because those start to become synonymous in a person's consciousness. Then they start seeing these weird ass dreams. This is what's happening with a lot of people. They start seeing these weird dreams. They see all these evil forces and entities entering the planet. And they're like, shit, it's going to happen. And then they're all scared and afraid and all this is going on. And this is all coming from within.